The sun slanted through the louvers of classroom 4B, casting long, golden stripes across Maya's notebook. While the rest of the class groaned over the complexities of quadratic equations, Maya found herself drifting. She wasn't looking at the board. She was looking at Mr. Aris. Mr. Aris wasn't like the other teachers at Greenfield Secondary. He didn't yell, and he didn't lean on the spare the rod philosophy. He was patient, smelling faintly of sandalwood and old books. The seeds of affection. For Maya, the crush didn't start with a lightning bolt. It started with a compass. 3 months ago, she had forgotten hers during a practical geometry lesson. She was on the verge of tears, terrified of the strict principal's inspection, when a hand landed gently on her desk. "Borrow mine, Maya," Mr. Aris had whispered with a wink, "and keep it. I have a spare. Consider it a tool for a future engineer." That was the first gift. Then came the others. The specialized eraser for her technical drawings, the advanced calculus textbook he bought her when he saw her struggling with the basic curriculum, the chocolate bar tucked into her graded assignment after she finally scored an A. To Maya, these weren't just gestures of a dedicated educator. They were secret signals. When he stayed back for 30 minutes after the bell to explain the laws of physics to her, making sure she understood every single why and how, she felt chosen. She felt special. The bubble bursts. The illusion began to crack during the midterm gala. Maya had spent weeks picking out a dress that made her look older, more refined. She found Mr. Aris near the refreshments, but he wasn't alone. She watched from the shadows as he handed a small wrapped parcel to Sarah, a junior student who struggled with dyslexia. "Keep practicing, Sarah," he said with that same warm smile. "This pen helps with grip. It's a gift for your hard work." Maya's heart did a slow, painful somersault. Later that evening, she saw him sitting with Tunde, the school's most notorious troublemaker, patiently explaining a history chapter for the 3rd time, handing the boy a motivational bookmark. The gifts weren't theirs, they were his. He wasn't choosing her, he was simply being a teacher. The confrontation. The weight of the realization turned into a cold lump in Maya's chest. For a week, she was silent in class. She stopped asking questions. She left the last gift, a box of high-quality charcoal pencils, untouched on her desk. After school on Friday, when the hallways echoed with the frantic energy of students rushing home, Maya walked into the staff room. Mr. Aris was packing his leather satchel. "Maya, is everything okay? You've been quiet lately," he said, concerned. "Why do you do it? The gifts, the extra time, the way you look at me when I finally understand a lesson." Mr. Aris paused. "Because I want you to succeed, Maya. You have a brilliant mind." "I love you," she blurted out. The words hung in the air, heavy and irreversible. "I thought the way you treated me, I thought we were more than just teacher and student." The lesson beyond the books. Mr. Aris didn't flinch. He didn't laugh, and he didn't look disgusted. He pulled out a chair and gestured for her to sit. "Maya," he started softly, "I am honored by your feelings, but we need to talk about what teaching actually is." He leaned forward, his expression grave but kind. "When I give a student a gift, it's not because I want their heart. It's because I want to give them a bridge. Some students need a compass to find their way. Others need a book to see a different world. My job isn't just to talk at you. It's to make sure you arrive at the destination of knowledge." "But you're so nice to me," Maya whispered, wiping a tear. "I am nice to you because you deserve a safe place to learn," Mr. Aris replied. "But I'm a grown man with a life, a career, and a responsibility to protect you, not date you. One day, you will find someone your own age who will give you gifts because they want to walk beside you. But right now, my gifts are meant to help you fly away from here into a great future. I can't be your boyfriend, Maya. I'm your teacher. That is a much more important role in your life right now." A new perspective. The walk home was long, but for the first time in months, Maya's head felt clear. The heartbreak was there, dull and aching, but the confusion was gone. She realized that Mr. Aris hadn't been leading her on. He had been pouring his heart into his vocation. He saw her, and every other struggling student, as a fire that needed tending. On Monday, Maya walked into class. She took out the charcoal pencils he had given her. She didn't look at him with longing, but with a newfound, sturdy respect. She opened her notebook and waited for the lesson to begin. She was ready to learn, and this time, it was for herself. 10 years later, the heavy scent of sandalwood and old books hit Maya as she stepped into the familiar hallway of Greenfield Secondary. She wasn't carrying a backpack this time. She was carrying a leather briefcase. She stood outside classroom 4B, watching through the glass. Mr. Aris was still there. His hair was streaked with more silver now, and his shoulders were slightly more rounded, but the spark in his eyes as he tapped a whiteboard covered with complex equations hadn't dimmed. He was leaning over a desk talking to a young boy who looked like he wanted to be anywhere else. Maya watched as he reached into his drawer and handed the boy a small, high-quality calculator. The boy's eyes widened, and he finally looked up at the board. Maya felt a lump in her throat, not of heartbreak, but of profound gratitude. The full circle. She knocked softly and stepped inside. The students looked up, curious about the woman in the sharp professional suit. Mr. Aris squinted for a second, then a wide, beaming smile broke across his face. "Maya? Or should I say, Engineer Maya? You remembered," she said, stepping forward to shake his hand. "I remember every student who finally got the lesson," he chuckled. "What brings you back to these dusty halls?" "I'm here for the career day talk," Maya said, glancing at the students. "But I wanted to stop here first. I wanted to return something." She reached in her bag and pulled out a small velvet box. Inside was a high-end professional drafting compass, the finest money could buy. "You told me once that your gifts were tools to help me find my way," Maya said, her voice steady and clear. "You gave me a compass when I was lost, and you gave me a boundary when I was confused. Because you refused to be what I thought I wanted, you became exactly what I needed." The classroom was silent. The young boy with the new calculator watched them intently. Mr. Aris looked at the compass, then back at Maya. "You learned the most important lesson, Maya. Teaching isn't about the subject, it's about the person." "I used to think you didn't love me back," Maya said with a small, knowing smile, "but I realize now that you loved your students enough to stay exactly who you were meant to be. You were the first person who taught me that no can be a gift, too." A legacy continued. As Maya stood at the front of the school auditorium later that morning, looking out at hundreds of young faces, she saw girls who looked just like she used to, full of dreams, confusion, and misplaced affections. "Success isn't just about passing your exams," she told them into the microphone. "It's about recognizing the people who build bridges for you. Sometimes a teacher's greatest gift isn't the book they give you, but the path they point you towards while they stay behind to help the next person." She looked toward the back of the room where Mr. Aris was standing leaning against the doorframe, nodding slowly. The crush had died a decade ago, but the respect? That was permanent. Maya realized that while she had once wanted to be in his life, she was now something much better. She was his legacy.